This is part 3 of this series, which is how we're captured and trafficked through the banks and the courts and also at the ground level, which this particular White House summit is talking about. So Katannya, Alven, taking you into part 3.
With this, first of all, listen, we understand.
And here is another sheriff talking.
Program, but to see it in action, their commitment to the issue was pretty incredible.
And I commend them. They do it on the train, voice of God, and some great messaging as well.
So I'm gonna jump to the sheriff for a second, because you opened the prosecution door, and I'd like to understand from you, Sheriff, what are you doing at the local level? Have you seen any changes over the past over your career and how we confront this issue? And,
thank you.
Why you're committed to it?
Yeah, thank you. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. Coming from Texas, of course, we have a tenacious governor who's made it resoundingly clear that every level of government, all the way down to the local level, will be involved in the fight to end this scourge. I want to tell you a story about 8 sheriffs in North Texas that banded together in order to fight human trafficking. When I was elected in 2017, I met with 7 other sheriffs in the North Texas area, and we sat down and talked about what are those things that we can do to stem the flow of narcotics and human trafficking across our counties. And what we came up with is, first of all, listen, we understand that what happens here is the very same transnational criminal enterprises and gangs that are trafficking narcotics. These are the people that are trafficking humans. These are the people that are continually victimize and drug addict these victims in order to control them. We also understand that as sheriffs, that the one advantage we have is jurisdiction over long pieces of road.
Now, I just want to catch that moment when he talked about drugs, because who runs the drug trade? Yeah, started in Kew Gardens. They were growing opium to destroy the Chinese culture. And there's a very interesting Lyndon LaRouche and his organization, when he was alive, but his organization goes on, have a book called Dope Inc., and it's in my library, it's in storage, and that is very clear, the enormous amounts of money that actually are being made through marketing under the radar or above the radar, dope, you know. Is that one of those war castles called the City of London? So, yeah, it's very interesting.
In our counties. So what we did was we decided to band together, to sign an agreement with one another that extends the jurisdiction of our deputies into each other's counties. You don't see that done very often. And what happened was we took specially trained deputies who were trained to detect those indicators for human trafficking and narcotics, and we turned them loose. And I'm happy to tell you that in just 2 years, what they've been able to accomplish is they have seized tons of narcotics and dangerous drugs, millions of dollars, weapons and ammunition are being smuggled south, destined for Mexico. They've recovered almost 100 stolen motor vehicles. They've discovered loads of human cargo in commercial motor vehicles, 18-wheelers, and most importantly, they've rescued children. I want to tell you 2 quick stories about that. One of our deputies northwest of Fort Worth, late at night, stopped a vehicle with a 15-year-old girl in the back seat of a vehicle occupied by 2 middle-aged men who did not know her name. And she did not know theirs. And she had been reported missing by her parents the week before in San Antonio. We had another case in which one of our interdiction deputies out east of Dallas on the interstate made a traffic stop and discovered that the woman driving the car was wanted for capital murder in Los Angeles. He arrested her. There was a 5-year-old in the vehicle. She murdered a man 2 days before in Los Angeles and kidnapped his 5-year-old son.
Oh my God.
And we successfully rescued that child. All of this makes it work for us. All we have to do is one time look in the face of a human trafficking victim or someone who's sexually exploited, and for law enforcement it makes it all perfect. So from the local level, what I see is where in the past, perhaps, maybe that county was that sheriff's domain. We've decided that's a day gone by. my brother and sister sheriffs across Texas, Governor Abbott and the legislature have passed laws that now allow us to work across county lines that are even not contiguous in these types of matters, and we're taking advantage of it, and we're going to continue the good fight on the open road.
Now, that is wonderful. When people start to get together, when they go across the red tape, they pull down the red tape and they actually start to work together. And I think planetarily and historically at this time, we are beginning to do that. That is exactly what we are beginning to do. And I think that's fantastic. Now, just a little bit more, because the next speaker is a First Nation chief.
Judge Blake, you're a tribal judge.
Tribal
in
judge.
California. I thought maybe you'd share a little bit of how you're interacting with law enforcement and fighting the scourge at the tribal level.
Certainly, and again, thank you very much for the honor to be here today. I not only am an elected judge for my tribe, the Hoopa Valley tribe located in Northern California, I'm also the president of the National American Indian Court Judges Association, the only tribal judges association in the nation. So I speak on a national level. I don't speak just on behalf of California, but I also speak because I am a parent of a traffic victim myself. My own daughter was trafficked, and when we talk about, I heard that the Attorney General talk about the use of social media. I tell people that my home is 67 miles from the closest McDonald's and 71 from the closest Walmart. That just gives you an idea how remote we are, and how a trafficker found my child in remote Humboldt County was through social media. And with the dream that she was going to be this model, with this dream that she was going to achieve all these aspirations that she had in her life. The idea that you have to be a child that is a foster child, that you have to be a neglected and abused child is not always accurate, because this child never wanted for anything.
Exactly. And it's the important thing is to understand the evil around us. I think that's one of the reasons why often I will make these videos with to alert people to what is going on as well, what's going behind the curtains, what's going behind or under the carpet, what should we know that would actually make our life better and safer and more harmonious. That's one of the important things of my
This
doing
child
these
was
videos.
pretty, as we looked back at her empty room after she left, we kept thinking what we missed. And what we missed was the encouraging her to be something, to be somebody, to reach those goals, and her wanting to do so, and being falling prey to somebody that is offering that service but not for that purpose.
I will, of course, all these will go into the description box, and do finish listening to it. It's a long video, it's 2 hours 34 minutes. I haven't watched the whole of it, but it's very exciting what these impassioned people are doing. And this is my whole, why I'm adding Delphin into each one of this, or talking about Delphin, is because when we can get impassioned about what we're doing, and then the laws of the universe actually bring back that same energy to us. So if we can, in whatever field we're working in, we can actually use the laws of the universe to help us to develop our intuition, to actually bring about, in this case, justice, safety for those children, and actually a system whereby those children are the individuals that are of this nature that is so metaphorically blood-sucking, is shocking, and we have to change that. But we've got to start with ourselves. So that's really what I'm saying. Now, I want to carry on with something else, equally as important. So here we've got Glenn Beck up, and this is the video, and he's talking about money laundering. Now, he's talking about this particular man, the Omnipro, part of Ukraine, and he has been actually putting money that he's been laundering into arms and arming troops that are on the edges of the Russian borders.
That all of the members are from.
But he goes into how they money launder, which is very interesting.
But it's also the city where the main headquarters for Privat Bank is located. And I
So that's one of the laundering banks.
only mention this because something really incredible happens there on September 11th, 2019. Remember that date. I'll come back later to it. I can't tell you for sure I can tell you that the facts, I can tell you what the facts are. I can't tell you for sure that your 1.8 is what bought those arms. But boy, I can't explain it anything. Where else did it go? Why do we not care? I care if he went and he bought a bunch of Bugattis. Perhaps I don't care if I'm in the administration or the deep state if I know that money did not buy Bugattis, but instead bought weapons for a war that was not sanctioned by Congress.
Yes, and so it's convenient not to care. Convenient when you're cut off from your consciousness. Convenient when you don't care about other people's lives. We're going on to the next video. So this is the end of this one, and we'll pick it up with Glenn Beck going on straight on from where we are, which is actually how the money laundering happens.